Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change the entire course of your life. If you believe that too, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because this story will prove just how powerful compassion can be. It was a freezing morning when Ethan, a single father and a gifted mechanic, stood outside the auto repair shop where he had worked for nearly 12 years. His hands were stained with oil, his jacket torn at the sleeves, but his heart was pure. Every morning, before clocking in, he'd drop his 8-year-old daughter Lily at school. She was his reason to wake up, his light through the struggles that life threw at him. Ever since his wife passed away 3 years ago, everything had been about Lily. Her laughter was the only thing that kept his world from falling apart. That morning, Ethan had come to work early. He knew his boss, Mr. Carlson, was looking for excuses to cut down on employees. The company was struggling, and loyalty didn't mean much anymore. But Ethan wasn't worried about losing his job for himself, he was worried about losing the roof over Lily's head. While he was checking the engine of an old pickup, a loud siren blared nearby. An ambulance had stopped right in front of the garage, smoke rising from its hood. Paramedics rushed out, panicked. One of them shouted, "We have a patient inside. Engine's dead, we can't move." Without a second thought, Ethan dropped his tools and ran toward the ambulance. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't think about consequences. He saw the flashing red lights, the fear in the paramedic's eyes, and the muffled cry of someone fighting for their life inside. He yanked the hood open, scanning the engine like a soldier on the battlefield. "Starters fried." "Give me 5 minutes," he yelled. Using nothing but a wrench, a screwdriver, and a piece of wire from his own toolbox, Ethan bypassed the circuit and hot-wired the starter motor. The ambulance roared to life again. The paramedics jumped in, shouting thanks as they sped off into the distance. Ethan stood there, heart pounding, covered in grease but smiling faintly. He didn't even know who the patient was. He only knew he had done the right thing, but not everyone saw it that way. When his boss walked out of the office, his face was red with rage. "Ethan! What in God's name were you thinking?" Carlson barked. "You left your post, walked away from a customer's car, and tampered with a city vehicle. Do you have any idea how that looks for us?" "I was just trying to help. Someone could have died," Ethan said quietly. "Not your problem," Carlson snapped. "You're done here. Pack your things." Those words crushed him. In seconds, everything he had worked for was gone. That night, he sat at the small kitchen table with Lily, trying to smile through the pain. She noticed, of course. She always did. "Daddy," she said softly, "Mommy used to say that when you help someone, God helps you too. Maybe he's just waiting for the right time." Ethan held her close, tears filling his eyes. He wanted to believe her. But the rent was due, the bills were piling up, and every mechanic shop in town said the same thing: "We're not hiring." Days turned into weeks. Ethan started fixing cars in his backyard to earn a few dollars. One afternoon, while Lily played on the porch, a sleek black car pulled up to his gate. The kind of car that didn't belong on his dusty street. A man in a tailored suit stepped out, his hair silver, his presence commanding. "Are you Ethan Walker?" he asked. Ethan nodded, wary. "Yes, sir. Can I help you?" The man smiled faintly. "Actually, I think you already did." He introduced himself as Robert Hayes, CEO of the largest car manufacturing company in the state. The name rang a bell, the same company whose ambulance Ethan had repaired weeks ago. Robert continued, his voice filled with warmth. "The man you helped that day, that was me, Ethan. I had a heart attack. If you hadn't fixed that ambulance, I wouldn't be standing here." Ethan froze, unable to speak. "I was unconscious, but I found out everything later," Robert said. "I tried to track you down, and when I learned you were fired because of it, I knew I had to make it right." He reached into his coat and handed Ethan an envelope. Inside was a letter, an offer. A full-time position as head mechanic at Hayes Motors, with triple his old salary. Ethan was speechless. "Sir, I don't know what to say." Robert smiled kindly. "Just keep doing what you do. The world needs more people like you." Lily came running out, clutching a drawing she'd made, her dad fixing cars with a big sun over his head. She looked at the CEO with curious eyes and said, Are you the man my daddy saved? Robert knelt down to her level and nodded gently. Yes, young lady. And because your daddy saved me, I get to see my daughter again too. There was a quiet pause, the kind of silence that carried gratitude and grace. From that day on, Ethan's life began to change. He didn't just work for Hayes Motors, he led innovations that helped design safer, more reliable vehicles. The CEO became his mentor, and soon, the company started a program in Ethan's name, Walker's Hands, a fund to support mechanics and first responders who help others in emergencies. One simple act of compassion had turned a broken man's life into a story of redemption and purpose. Months later, as Ethan stood in front of his new workshop with Lily, watching the sunset reflect off the polished cars, she whispered, "See, Daddy? Mommy was right. When you help someone, God helps you too." Ethan smiled, his eyes glistening. Yes, sweetheart. He sure does. And that's how one man's kindness changed everything, not through money, not through fame, but through heart. If this story moved you even a little, take a second to like this video and subscribe. Because stories like Ethan's remind us all, the good you do always finds its way back to you.